In 1 Corinthians 9, verse 2, he goes on, "If to others I am not an apostle, at least I am to you, for you are the seal of my apostleship in the Lord."
I love that phrase, the seal of my apostleship.
It's powerful. This church, which Paul famously founded, grew from nothing in this notoriously corrupt pagan city
A really rough place to start a church.
to become, as the sermon explained, probably the largest and most influential church in the Western Hemisphere at that time.
And that's Paul's mic drop moment, really.
Mm-hmm.
What's so fascinating, and such a sharp rhetorical move, is that their very existence, this thriving, spirit-filled church, was the seal, the stamp of authenticity.
Undeniable proof.
Self-evident, a supernatural miracle showing God's power working through Paul. Even if people elsewhere doubted him, the Corinthians, they knew they were living proof. Their transformed lives, their faith, their very gathering as a church. It all screamed that Paul was the real deal, an apostle of God.
The sermon also gave some important context about Paul and Barnabas' ministry while they were in Corinth. They made a very deliberate, conscious choice to forego certain rights, certain privileges of being apostles. They set aside personal comfort, ease, even the status that came with being an apostle. They chose to live like ordinary workers.
Now, think about that status-driven Greek culture again, where philosophers and religious teachers often were supported by followers and wore their status proudly.
Right.
Imagine if Paul and Barnabas had done that. If they'd worn their apostleship on their sleeves, demanding honor, demanding financial support. Given how the Corinthians were already tending towards divisions, pride, saying, I follow Paul, I follow Apollos.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous.
Totally. It could have reinforced all the wrong worldly values in this baby church. It would have distracted them from the humility of Christ. So Paul intentionally downplayed his outward power, blended in, avoided being a financial burden on this new church.
And set an example.
And most importantly, served as this humble, undeniable example of self-sacrificial Christian living. They refused support, worked as tent makers. It showed their sacrifice was a choice made out of love for the gospel and for them. Not a sign of weakness or lack of legitimacy. It was a brilliant countercultural move.